Now the next tool, the Torus Solid tool, is a little more complex than you've been placing so far. And you need a little practice to place a torus exactly how you want it. Look at the illustration here on the left. This is how the dimensions for the torus are set. First we have the primary radius, which is from the center of the axis of revolution to the center of the torus ring. Then we have the secondary radius, which is the actual radius of the torus itself. And then we have the sweep angle. Now you can place the torus with or without all of those constraints. So let's see how it works. Click on the Torus Solid tool. And let's look at the tool settings window. Standard axis information. We can set primary radius, secondary radius, and the angle. The angle, of course, is a sweep angle. Now I've got some values set here, and it would be good if you started with those at least. So if you enter those values, if you're working in metric, that will be 225 for the primary radius, 50 for the secondary radius. Let's change the angle to 360. That will sweep a full circle torus. Then we come onto the screen and we start to draw. The prompt is enter start point. So I'll click in the drawing. I'm going to change it to the top orientation. Define the center point is the next prompt. The point I've just picked is not the center of the torus. That point there will be the center of the torus. And this line represents the primary radius, the 9-inch value or the 225mm value. So you do have to be a little careful with that. The torus might not show where you think it might show. Data point. And immediately there's my torus. And our data point again to accept it. And we're done. Let me undo that and show you something slightly different. Left click again, drag, same thing, data point again, but before I data point to accept, I'm going to change the orientation of the compass. Now I get a vertical torus. If I click that again, something strange happens. I see a nice sphere. Don't ask me why, it's just the way it gets displayed with that compass orientation, which is of course 180 degrees opposite of the original placement. Press E again, and we're back to a horizontal. Let's do that and leave it in the vertical. Okay, so far so good. Let me get rid of that. And let's try now working without some of the presets. Let's turn off the angle first. I'm going to start my torus again, so start again. Same thing, data point. My torus shows up, but now I can specify the sweep angle for my torus. Just quickly do that again so you can see more accurately. I can use a set angle in AccuDraw, if necessary, to generate a precise degree of rotation. Undo that. Let's take off the secondary radius. Data point again. Here's my primary radius again. Left click. Now I'm physically changing both the radius of the actual torus itself, the secondary radius, and the sweep angle at the same time. So a little less accurate because I've got two things to worry about here, but you get the idea. Undo that. Let's take off the primary radius. And now I must choose what radius for the primary. Let's do that. And again, I must choose my sweep and my radius for the secondary radius. But because I'm at a slight angle, I get a slightly different torus. So that is one way of getting a torus which is not in the vertical or horizontal. So continue to place toruses for yourself as usual. Try different settings for the inputs in the tool settings window and try to develop torus at different angles. Now to help things along, there is an exercise for this, which I have placed in a PDF file called Solid Exercises, and you'll find that in your Working Files folder. You'll also find some other exercises there too, which I'll talk about as we get towards the end of this video series.